Boys, girls, all my Trumpaholics out there, welcome back to Otherobert. I'm Joe, I'm the other on this shindig. Let's review The Boy tonight. The Boy was the new horror movie with the little doll, very Dead Silence-esque in that sense. I even had a trailer with a poem gimmick going, complete, just reminiscent of Dead Silence in that sense. Was it good? The Boy was very good. Yes, happy to say The Boy was a very good movie. They built suspense the entire time, and I think it pays off. This was a very suspenseful movie, and you kind of realize it, and you kind of don't at the same time. It's building suspense very subtly, and I guess I'll have a little bit of a spoiler section where I talk about that. But they do it the entire time. It's not in your face, but it's there, and it's handled very well. The tone of this movie is very, very competent. It's very grounded with everything that's going on. It's very grounded and competent the entire time. Every decision that the main characters make, I won't say not every single one is smart, but it felt more. That's attributed to the writing. The writing just felt, I guess, better than what you usually get in these types of horror movies. It was nothing, to tweet home about, but it was still far better than what we see these days. It was definitely a solid outing when it comes to the writing. And I have to say the acting was actually very strong. There's only 7 actual actors in the entire movie. Then you have a voice actor on the phone. You have a few other things. You have some pictures. But when it comes to actually just actors in the movie, there's only 7. And some of them you barely see. But I thought the acting was very strong the entire time. I didn't think the acting was lacking any time throughout the movie. The scares are definitely there because it is a horror movie. The scares are definitely there throughout the movie. And it did a good job. Not just a good job. It did a very, very effective job at separating itself, because you see the trailer, you see the doll, you see all that. Looks like Child's Play. It looks like Annabelle. It looks like all those other movies. And it is different. And it does a very, very good job at setting itself apart from those movies. In terms of really just how it handles itself. It's very difficult to kind of illustrate that for you. But it is very, very different how it handles itself. Very competent, very grounded. The main character kind of gets it, I would say, halfway through the movie. And it's just really, some reactions in this movie are different than what we've come to expect. It was your classic kind of horror movie in a lot of senses. Big, empty mansion, with a creepy vibe and everything. But I think it handles it in a pretty new way, I would say. Definitely puts its own little spin on the horror genre. And really, I have only positive things to say about The Boy. This was a very, very good outing for a horror movie. I definitely have to say it. So far, best of 2016. It's January, so we'll see what happens in terms of horror movies. But not bad. Not a bad way to start off the year. It was very, very raw, I would say. Very raw in its in its delivery, and I would say I liked having a very, very small cast, and it gave the actors and actresses more time to kind of tell their story. The focus was always sort of on them, and then the doll, the story aspect of it, which the story I actually thought was handled pretty well. My only negative with the entire movie was I would have liked to see the story go a little bit farther in the background of The Boy and see a little bit more of that. We got enough. We definitely got enough. I'm not complaining about it by any means. I think it could have really, really set itself out even more had it gone further into that story. Had they really milked the story and showed us some different things with it, I think this really could have been something even more. but nonetheless, still a very, very solid movie and a lot of fun. Just genuinely a lot of fun to see this movie transpire. And that's pretty much all I want to say. I want to talk a couple just quick little spoilers. So, if you have not seen The Boy, end now or forever hold your peace, and then come back and check out the rest of this discussion here. So, if you have seen The Boy, hopefully you're still watching. If you haven't seen The Boy, I'm serious. Go. You don't want to know. There's a huge ending, and you don't want to know it. So definitely go see it. So the ending. Did not see that coming. That was handled very well. I would say it's rare. Not that it's never happened, but it's rare that you really see a supernatural esque movie going the entire time, and it turns out not to be supernatural. They handled that extremely well, and they built to that kind of that climax with, I believe the character's name was Cole, where he smashed the doll. That built so nicely, and it felt like the whole movie built towards that one part, and that's what I was going back to before with the suspense. You never see the doll move, and they did that very Child's Play-esque. I mean, for a while in Child's Play, you don't see Chucky move. You see it towards the end, and that's what I thought they were doing here. But the way they handled that was just so well. It turns out the doll never moved, and we got that ending, and that was creative. I thought that was different. They did a good job at establishing kind of a villain in what they actually did. I really think had this movie received more marketing, more hype, I would say, and maybe if this was in a different time period, probably the 80s, I think this would go over much, much more, because that villain kind of reminiscent of like a Michael Myers or something along those lines. I could see how someone would say a B movie, but that's because we've had so many of these. But however, if this movie was delivered in a different time, I think this really could have been something more. Not taking anything away from the movie, but in terms of the character that they kind of built towards the end that we see. Very cool look, I will say. Very interesting, creepy. Ultimately creepy, right? Very, very scary look. And I think this character could have been something more. Who knows? Maybe this will kind of grow a little bit. But I do think, I don't know, Brahms. I do think that could have been something more. Still might be. I don't know. Just an observation. Loved it. Loved the suspense to that. Like I said, never see the doll move. They handled that very, very well. I want to rewatch the movie to see how they do a lot of those scenes with the head turning and everything. You never see it actually turn, and it's all just interesting to kind of reflect on. So I'm definitely looking forward to going back and watching that. Let me know what you guys thought of The Boy. What did you think about that twist ending? Did you have any negatives at all? Did you get what I was saying about this could have been a character like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees? He could have fit in that kind of lineup had this been in a different time, I think. But since the market's so oversaturated with these horror movies, I think he's going to get lost in the shuffle, whereas he really could have been something more. And I don't know. I'm going to end it there. Let me know what you guys thought and subscribe, because it takes around that much effort to do so. Until next time, you have been traumatized.